tell us a little bit of your story. I know a little bit of it, but tell the audience here what's going on here. I mean, we met through Gabrielle Lyon. She set us up.
Yeah, she set us up
for today.
You know, I was really lucky. When I was in high school, I played soccer, and I had he was a college soccer player who was our coach, and I think this was 1996, and I mean it was the boys' gym room, right? But our coach had us in there 3 to 4 days a week training.
Oh, awesome!
And I didn't continue playing soccer into college, but obviously there was a college gym, and I just kept going. So I would say that my through line of life has always been being in the gym. Like I know some people love marathon running or half marathons or all.
You'd always get back to it.
Yeah, for me it's always weights.
That's cool.
I always feel like that's where it's worth the time and energy. So that I've had a couple moments in my life where due to head injuries or other things that have come up, like I've had to take a break, but I mean every time I can get back to the weights, I'm doing it. It's what I think, to me, it's what makes the biggest difference, particularly in midlife where we are losing bone and muscle just default. And if we're not future-proofing that muscle and bone, then we're going to be seeing a lot of sarcopenia, osteoporotic fractures.
We should still have another good 30, 40 years where we can be pretty vibrant, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and why not? Like it's really choice. You get to decide if you want to be vibrant or not. You get to decide how strong you want to be. I think all of us, we get to choose that. And at any point in time, my mom, she was always in the gym growing up too, but I remember her at 50 years old, she's like, I want to start playing competitive tennis. She'd never played tennis before. She became a competitive tennis player. I mean, not like, but you know.
I understand, yeah.
Yeah, and started training for marathons and half marathons. Obviously, she's still in the gym, but like, she was like, I'm going to level up movement.
That's cool.
And if there was something, if I could bottle something.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't. But if I could,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it would be movement all day.
Yeah, I saw that one woman was talking about how she studied a lot of sprinters, and there really wasn't there wasn't a crazy gap that you would think that there would be until people got to be like 60 and 70. And so basically what she said was, if you're not similar to the way that you were in your 20s and 30s when you're about 60, then you're probably not trying hard enough, not working hard enough. Which is a pretty big statement, but I understand.
Really big statement, yeah.
I understand her point. But she was studying like literal times of people.
Oh wow! Like
the times in 100 meter, times in 200 meter, 400 meter, the mile. So it wasn't like she made it up.
Yeah. Well, I would say the biggest gap, I think about 20s and how I was probably training to be lean, training to be thin, training to look good in my little outfits, being dresses. In my 40s, it's a whole nother level. I always say it's a higher stakes game.
Right.
Like I'm not training for that. I'm training for strength and resilience. I'm training for capacity and vitality. It's a different reframe of how I trained then. I didn't take it as seriously then as I do today.
A little bit more performance-based in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, I picked up, whatever this weight is today, or I did more reps, or I was able to do that workout in a much shorter time.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially you've been doing it for so long too. That's pretty cool.
Well, and it's I'm more so like symptom management, and how do I mitigate symptoms? How do I get better sleep? How do I feel more energized? How do I ensure my brain's working properly? So that's a lot of what I'm gauging my movement by, is like, how is it making me feel?
Right.
How is it allowing me to show up?
And
that's a lot of what I think about.
Where did menopause come from? Because it didn't seem to used to be a thing, right? So are women making this up? Sorry, are women making this up, or is it just, did women from yesteryear just sort of go through it and no one knew what it was?
Women went through it and we didn't talk about it. No one knew what it was, but there was always an inevitability where we were going to wind down.
And you just start to feel like shit.
Yeah, when we're born, we're only born with a certain number of eggs. By the time we get to puberty, we have 300 to 500,000 left, and every month, whether we like it or not, we're priming for conception. And it's not just the one egg. Although one egg is chosen to get released, we prime up multiple eggs. Over time, we burn through them. By the time we're in our mid to late 30s, we only have about 10,000 eggs left. The body knows it, the brain knows it, the ovaries know it, and so there's that wind down that we are kind of, the brain ovary communication gets a little faltered, those hormones get wonky, until finally we're down to maybe 1,000 or less, 100 or so, depending on the person. But at that point, that's menopause, and we're not even using those eggs anymore. Like, we're done. But it was just a part of our evolutionary track. For hundreds and hundreds of years, there's documentation that women have gone through menopause between 40 and 60 years old. We just, until we had a medication for it, we really didn't.
I find it really interesting when you're born, like when humans are born.
Yeah.
Can't really tell the difference between the sexes.
No.
And we do so with pink and blue and so on and different things like that. And it takes a while before you can really tell. Every once in a while you can kind of tell because there's more masculine traits. Sometimes there's more with like a fairly young child, but it's kind of rare. As we age, the same thing happens. Your mom and dad start to look a little similar to each other, especially like if you only see them from the back, or if the woman cuts her hair a little shorter and things like that. I find that really interesting, but it's all hormonal.
It's all hormonal.
When you're a baby, you just don't have the same hormones, and when you're 70, you don't have the same hormones.
Yeah.
Women, when they're going through menopause, it's their estrogen starts to go down, right?
Estrogen, progesterone, even testosterone for some of us. Melatonin as well. Cortisol begins to deregulate. I always say a lot of these hormones aren't operating in a silo. They're all interconnected, but yeah, the two main reproductive hormones, estrogen and progesterone. But estrogen, the major player for a lot of those, that kind of what makes women, sensual, gives us the shape, what transforms our brain and allows us to make babies.
Definitely get into a lot more of this when we podcast, but I'm sure, I guess it's case to case, but do you what is your thoughts on when someone prescribes estrogen?
I love it. I think it's great, particularly for brain protection, bone protection, cardiovascular protection, but also muscle protein synthesis. We have receptor sites in terms of on our muscles, on our muscle fibers, and when we have estrogen, we make muscle easier. When estrogen declines, it's a much bigger uphill battle to build muscle. And so I always say perimenopause is that window of metabolic opportunity because we still have estrogen, it's still there. So take advantage of it. But then also, if you want to make sure that you are continuing to protect your bones, I always say all vaginas need estrogen because genital urinary symptoms of menopause happens, UTIs, vaginal dryness, vaginal atrophy, bladder issues, all of this happens when we start to lose estrogen. And so I'm a big fan, even just maintaining those systems. What a lot of people don't know is that chronic UTIs are one of the number one reasons why women live in older women are in assisted living situations, because those constant chronic infections are, they need to be more managed. But if they had been given vaginal estrogen, most likely they wouldn't be enduring that. So.
And what about testosterone for women?
I love testosterone for women. I think it's great. Especially right now on label, it's for libido. That's what we're recommending it for. A lot of women's libido tanks in perimenopause and menopause. But the cognitive benefits, the motivation, the stamina, the workout recovery, I hope we move to a place where there's an FDA-approved testosterone for women sooner than later.
So women might need almost like a little cocktail. Do any of these compounding pharmacies, do they make like an estrogen testosterone blend that you can just take all in one thing, or is estrogen more of a pill or tablet? Or
so estrogen's typically a patch or a cream.
I see.
Same with testosterone. Obviously you can get testosterone patching creams. What I like about that for women, probably for men too, is that you can finesse it.
Right.
Especially for women, we got to be a little, it can get a little bit overboard.
Right.
But there's also injections. I feel like once you kind of have a sense of where you need to be, you can move over to an injection.
Yeah.
And then there's troches, but again, the half-life of a troche is very small, so you're not getting the sustainable benefits of testosterone over time, and those are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People need to get over their fear of needles, because a lot of times the injectable is usually just superior.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's really no way around it.
For women, it's a little bit harder to dose. We're still trying to work. So I always say start with the cream first, or mostly cream. Even the gels, we can accidentally overdose women with testosterone on the gel, and then you can move over to that. And it depends on the woman. Like for instance, I really can't do a gel or cream, but I have a son, so I don't put a lot of things on topically.
You don't want to pass stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to pass anything over to Kingston, and so I'll do an injection of testosterone because I know what that dialed amount is. I do an estrogen patch and then an oral micronized progesterone. So, but I stack them. But they're done separately.
Just start to kind of just twirl it around whatever way. There you go. Yep. And some people like to have it hit the ground a little bit just so you get like a little bit of a feedback of the noise. There you go. Yeah, you're already doing it. And one of the points of this is just to try to get your spine to move a lot. So try to have your shoulders kind of going up and down.
Like that, like that?
Like you're not only rotating, but you're also going this way. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
that.
And then see if you can try to walk with it a little bit.
Now we're getting.
There you go. Good. Soccer player, Nsima. Another soccer player. Yeah. We've had so many guests on the show say they played soccer, and they almost always have like this decent fundamental athleticism, within them.
Well, at the very least, I had to do a lot of running.
Yeah, right? Well, a lot of running and a lot of like stopping and starting,
and going,
right?
Yeah, stopping and starting.
Acceleration, explosiveness. It kind of doesn't seem like much, but you do this for a little while, or you have, especially someone that is maybe more stiff, you have them do this. Over time, they can start to get themselves to move a little bit better.
So for mobility.
For mobility.
Yeah.
And you will start to get like a workout out of it.
That I'm challenging my brain.
Yeah.
I would say a lot of balance type work that
cool.
I'll do.
What kind of balance
my teeth
stuff?
At the opposite.
Okay.
But I would say more balance. Like, and then trying to think what else.
Even on like a walk, you just find like a curb to sort of balance on type thing.
And I have a Bosu ball at the house.
Nice.
We've got kind of the big balls that you have over there.
What has that done for you and some of your clients and stuff? You give them like challenges to work on their balance?
I think one, it supports proprioception. So when we're talking about like falls, and again, a lot of my women aren't concerned about falling yet, but I think it's important that we're stabilizing muscles and creating more proprioception. I think that's building a lot of mobility, but really coordination, cerebral, like having that cerebellum firing well, I think it becomes really important.
Some brain games. My wife does a lot of puzzling. She's a big puzzle person.
That's awesome. We do a lot of puzzles in my house. We don't do those big puzzles though.
I can sit there and stare at a puzzle for hours and not get anything going. Like I think in the whole time that she's been messing with her puzzles, I think I found like one piece that like fit in there the right way.
Is it like 1,000, 2,000?
Yeah, she does. She doesn't like them to be more than 1,000. Yeah, because then it gets to be a little too.
It gets really hard.
Too crazy.
Yeah. My son loves puzzles, so
That's
but
cool.
We're not looking. We have 100-piece puzzles and things like that.
It's such a cool thing to go do though. Like just I don't know. We need other stuff,
Yeah.
Other stuff than just our phone.
Oh, my
Reading an
gosh,
actual
yes.
book or
Yes.
or maybe a Kindle. Those are good things.
Well, when you're reading a book, when your eyes are scanning the page, that helps to re-regulate the nervous system. It helps to calm the body and calm the mind. I mean, it's a great strategy for sleep.
Not getting the blue light.
Yeah. So I don't do well with Kindles. It would be cheaper
Yeah. Yeah.
than buying a real book, but
You're right. How did you kind of get into this? Because you work a lot with women that are menopausal, right?
So how I got into it is I grew up, I started getting migraines when I was 7 and went to every doctor, neurologist. I had scans. I mean, really, this was the 80s. We didn't have a lot of options, and I was on medication, and I was told at a young age that I was just gonna have to live with them. And so I remember missing out on school activities, missing school, missing sleepovers, just missing out on life because I was in so much pain. My migraines would last 2 to 3 days when I was younger. And so I wanted to go to med school to learn how to actually heal migraines. So when I opened up my practice, I had a lot of women that were struggling with chronic pain, headaches, migraines. And lo and behold, many of them, if not all of them, were in midlife, perimenopause and menopause. And I realized that they were going to doctors for all kinds of reasons. They were being siloed to endocrinologists for thyroid issues. They were going to their cardiologists for increased lipids and blood pressure issues, and psychiatrists for SSRIs and anti-anxiety medications. And I was like, gosh, it's all connected. And we just weren't connecting the dots.
Right.
And so I started taking on women. This was at a time where I really got into nutrition and blood sugar management, and I started really adopting lifestyle strategies for these women, and it began to move the needle in a very meaningful way. Not that medicine doesn't, but I feel like lifestyle is really the ticket.
Kind of natural foods type deal?
Yeah, like
fruit, vegetables,
protein, fiber, healthy fats. This was at a time, 2009, 2010. Michael Pollan had a book called The Omnivore's Dilemma that had come out, and I was really intrigued. And so I was like, okay, like let's move to whole foods. Like how do we start educating? So we would host cooking classes at my office.
Oh, cool.
I had a chef come in and
yeah, I really love to show people a lot of cooking stuff too, because I think that people think that once you mess with their diet, they think they have to be like on like a diet, and that means they can't have food that tastes good anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you can still have, everything still can be delicious.
I can't tell you how many times I have had a patient of mine tell me, okay, well after this program or this protocol, when can I go back and eat Chick-fil-A? And I was like, never. But I was
That's
like,
the truth.
I'm going to tell you, 30 days out, tell me how you feel and if you're willing to sacrifice that.
Yeah.
You know, and so I said, let's base it on how you're feeling, your function.
Right.
Like, are you going to go back to feeling inflamed? Are you going to go back to feeling tired and hangry and mood swings and all of that? And you know, I said, talk to me in 30 days. Tell me if that's what you're still looking for.
Right.
Or
and maybe you still do have a craving for it, and that's okay.
It's okay.
Have it here and there. It's like now it represents, 6% of your diet for the whole year. It's like, who gives a shit, right? Not that horrible.
I haven't had fast food in 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's doable. It's doable, and but you're right. If it's just like you're on a road trip, you're with your besties, the options are limited.
It's just people got to be careful, because then they let those little things slide in,
Yeah,
and
I think
it's
where I see it really slip is liquid sugar.
Yeah.
I'll see someone be like, okay, they cut down the lattes, or they cut down the maybe the sugary, like even like a lot of my people, it's the healthy drinks, like the pop, I call them healthy drinks, but healthier drinks like poppies and kombucha.
They're just not really paying attention.
Yeah,
a lot
it's
of
a
calories.
slippery slope.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you find these things back in. And now you're consuming 20 extra grams of sugar a day.
Because weight management is probably a factor, right?
Yeah.
Not always, but it's probably a pretty big factor.
Yeah.
Just helping people, like I don't want to speak for you, but when someone loses 20 pounds, is that usually helpful?
Oh, always.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if we're walking back pre-diabetes or diabetes, or we're trying to walk back lipid numbers.
I see. They might have other things going. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, a lot of my patients are coming to me with a chronic condition. They've got a thyroid issue. They have an autoimmune condition. They're on the cusp of pre-diabetes. So they feel the writing on the wall, and and they've had family members with diabetes, or they have a father with dementia, and they're starting to see some of that maybe present. And so they're like, okay, can I walk this back? That's usually what I get.
Are the peptides helping change the game? Some of the GLP-1s and stuff? Are you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's still. There's
so let me
obviously.
just pause just for a second. So like, what I'm thinking is, like, you just mentioned that weight loss can be really pivotal, right? And we know, like, hey, we need to get you on a protocol, and we know that you need a protocol even if you do the GLP-1s. You still need like good dietary habits.
Absolutely, you still need movement.
But but some of these GLP-1 and where science seems to be going, it seems like that can be a really powerful intervention for menopause, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, absolutely.
cool.
And
That's
absolutely
interesting.
can be a jump start, especially paired with hormone replacement therapy. But again, the
that's
lifestyle
really
has got to
cool.
be dialed.
Where does someone go? How do they get help?
I mean, gosh, there's a lot of people who are prescribing GLP-1s.
I mean, you have a book, which is great.
Yes, my book. I don't get into a lot of GLP-1s. In the book, I talk more about building a metabolically healthy diet, like how are we protecting your cellular energy and your mitochondrial function. And then I'm talking about, I have a whole chapter on hormone replacement therapy, because a lot of women, a lot of that feels very safe,
right,
and manageable and doable. And this is where, when I look at the research, these are some of the biggest areas where we can make the biggest shift and change. But if women are looking for a jump start, in terms of GLP-1 peptides, whether it's tirzepatide or it's Wegovy or semaglutide. Like, there's so many providers that are offering that, but you want to make sure that you're working with a provider that's going to offer the full comprehensive plan, that it's not just the drug, that they actually have a better plan laid out for you.
Check your blood and they do the whole
Yeah,
thing.
well, and also they have meal plans. They've got recipes. They have movement. Like, it's a more comprehensive protocol than just here's the drug.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, if they don't feel well, they'll just they'll get some blood work from like their regular doctor, and sometimes their family care doctor or whoever they get their blood work from. They don't really have someone that's great to like interpret the blood work to really get them going in the right direction. So some of these TRT clinics like Americ Health or some of these different companies probably be a good option, because you have multiple people assisting you, and they assist you on multiple levels. So they'll help you with your nutrition, they'll help you with your reading your labs, because sometimes you just get like cholesterol checked, I don't know, blood pressure, cholesterol, and that's cool, like that's nice, but that's not everything you need.
No, it's not. That's not an ApoB. That's not a lipoprotein little a. That's not highly sensitive CRP.
They're not checking your cardiac.
They're not looking at they're not looking at a DEXA scan. We really want a comprehensive understanding of what is going on with you. When we're just running basic labs, like, in a lot of ways it's lazy medicine, because it's really driven based on pathology.
Right.
Like, we're just looking to see, do we need to prescribe a medication? That isn't necessarily moving you forward, especially if it's early on, when we could walk all that back. I
just want to tell everybody, like, look at how cool this is. It's like rope stuff. We're just sitting here shooting the shit, but we're actually exercising. We're moving. And this is all stuff that I've been recommending for many years. Like, go on a walk with a friend, go on a walk we just met today, and this is a great way to get to know someone. Is like we just exercise together and just chit chat during the exercise. For some of you guys that are watching this, I realize that this particular episode might not be for you, but it's for the people that you care about in your life. It's for your mom, it's for your girlfriend, your wife. Hopefully you don't have a girlfriend and a wife, but hey, to each their own. But yeah, share it with people that you care about, because a lot of people are, getting a lot of symptoms and running into a lot of health issues that could probably be maybe completely avoided. So if you know about it beforehand, maybe you can, get checked out and get some help before any of these symptoms hit. What are some symptoms of menopause?
Yeah, I mean, the majority of them are going to be brain related, Mark. And I think that's where the partners come in. From my fellas that are listening right now, and you have your wife's in her late 30s, early 40s, maybe even early 50s, and she's not feeling like herself, or you're noticing major shifts. I think vulnerable conversations about what she's going through, and really seeing how you can be supportive in terms of taking on some of the mental and emotional load, especially if you've got partners that are moms that are raising families, and then there are days where she doesn't have the energy or capacity to show up the way that you've been used to her showing up for years. And believe me, she's really reconciling that herself. There's nothing like all of a sudden your body feeling like it's betraying you and not knowing why. And so I think in this particular juncture, this 4 to 10 plus year transition where a woman's brain is massively reorganizing, having that communication, leading with compassion and understanding, seeing where, you can support, it goes a long way in terms of intimacy, connection, and keeping a relationship really strong.
Try 1 foot.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it. Woo.
Give you a little extra challenge. My buddy David Weck talks a lot about head over foot. So if you balance and you actually just keep your head to this side, it makes it way easier to keep your balance. Get your weight shifted. It kind of just adds a little element of complication to it.
I was like, oh.
Yeah. Where can people get your book, and what's the name of your book?
The book is called The Perimenopause Revolution, and you can get the book anywhere books are sold, including on Audible, audiobooks, even you can listen to it on Spotify, but Amazon, Barnes & Noble. If you want all the bonuses, drmariza.com, which is drmariza.com mark.com/book. And I've got over $700 worth in bonuses, including recipes, workout videos. And I get that a lot of everyone who's watching Mark over here, like, know how to move. But if you've got family members who are sedentary, who are not clocking, more than 5,000 steps a day, I've got beginner workout videos, exercise snack videos. Like, I want to meet women where they're at and give them all the tools to get started.
Sorry about all the ovary talk and everything. Strength is never weakness, weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.